Prince Xiao Tian, who only knows how to indulge in pleasure. But for his own wife, Ziruan, he single-handedly wiped out the organization sent from the upper realm, controlling the mysterious organization that controls Ziruan. At this moment, Zhou Tianji's anger erupted. Having never suffered such humiliation, he raised his hand with a slap, directly aimed at his own heavenly spirit. It can be said that he was caught by Xiao Tian before seeking self-destruction. Don't be in a hurry to die, first spill the secrets. Zhou Tianji could no longer endure such insults. He shouted, Xiao Tian, don't push people too far. Before he could continue cursing, Xiao Tian slapped him hard. Xiao Tian blinked and suddenly shouted in horror, holding his head. The system Wang Kai reminded the owner in real time. It seems like you accidentally blew your head. Xiao Tian, now very angry, said. This Zhou Tianji is really cunning. In order to keep that secret, he actually made me kill him. Xiao Tian, as he spoke, stood up, looking at the empty Tianji pavilion. Asked Wang Kai if he remembered correctly. The location of Tianji Pavilion should be within the territory of the Great Yan Dynasty, right? Yes, ignoring the false emperor's plan. This territory does indeed belong to Great Yan. Xiao Tian nodded satisfactorily after listening. Immediately found the treasure house of Tianji Pavilion. Contemplated for a moment and asked if they paid taxes. Wealth explained, based on the recorded history of the Great Yan Dynasty, there is no record of Tianji Pavilion paying taxes. Xiao Tian, upon hearing this, shook his head helplessly and said, tax evasion is unacceptable. It seems I have to take the trouble to collect it myself. Before long, Xiao Tian looted the place clean. After completing these tasks, Xiao Tian took off his clothes, came to Zhou Tianji's luxurious bath, and immersed himself. Also took a look at the gains from this time. Among them was a flying ship that could traverse the sky. The mark engraved on it made Xiao Tian very curious. Hurriedly asked Wealth what it meant. The system explained that this mark represents, after the southern flame territory of the Great Yan Empire turned into the southern wilderness territory, it left behind many relics. Many things here are from these relics. Hence, they bear the emblem of the Great Yan Empire. Xiao Tian sighed helplessly and smiled bitterly, lamenting that things were getting more and more complicated, already deviating far from his original intention. After enjoying a moment of leisure and relaxation, Xiao Tian stood up, put on his clothes, and flew back to the old residence of Lu Yan in the Qingyan mountain. Zhongling and Lu Yan, who had been in the courtyard all along, immediately went to greet Xiao Tian when they saw him descending. Zhongling approached directly and asked if the prince had forgiven them. Xiao Tian, upon hearing this, was stunned. Then shook his head regretfully. Unfortunately, their sins were too deep, and he couldn't save them in the end. Zhongling listened attentively, then spoke seriously, Prince, don't be discouraged. In the future, someone will surely appreciate your good intentions. Xiao Tian, upon hearing this, brightened up, patted Zhongling's head in satisfaction and praised him. As the sky began to brighten, Xiao Tian went into the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the two empresses. Zhongling restrained his solemn expression and looked at Lu Yan with a smiling face. Lu Yan sighed, saying that people like Tianji Pavilion, who are extremely sinful, probably won't see the sunrise later. Sometimes, the prince is like a child. He stays in his own world. His Majesty once said that the prince is very lonely. But the prince's back, as I see it, is so charming.